Poke, a traditional Hawaiian dish that has taken the world by storm over the past 10 years. What's not to love about it? Traditionally, this dish is prepared with tuna or octopus, therefore today I've decided to go ahead with some of this delicious fresh tuna. If you're not a fan of tuna, this will work equally well with salmon. Make sure your tuna steak is roughly 2 centimeters thick. The key to getting nice clean cubes is making sure that your knife is sharp. If you have a honing steel like me, straighten the edges and get stuck in. Start slicing your tuna into strips, cutting with the grain of the fish. Once you have some nice strips like this, we want to cut them into cubes. Ideally, we want to keep the cubes about 2 centimeters squared, but any size cube will do. If you want it bigger, cut it bigger. If you want it smaller, cut it smaller. Notice the colour on the fish, a deep red tuna. This shows that it is fresh and good quality, therefore suitable for eating raw. This is exactly what we're looking for. If in doubt, just ask your fishmonger for sushi grade tuna and they will supply you with the right stuff. The second component to the marinade will be onions. Grab a sweet onion and cut off both ends, slice in half and peel. Don't worry, we're not dicing, so don't need to keep the root end intact. When slicing, we don't want to cut against the grain, but instead with the grain like this. Cutting with the grain of the onion means that less cells are ruptured, therefore there's less of that oniony juice in the air to make your eyes sting. You'll cry less and you'll definitely thank me later. Once sliced, we should end up with some nice thin strands like this. Set them aside for use in a bit. The next component will be some fresh ginger. This, in my opinion, is the most important part of the marinade. Freshly grated ginger takes this to a whole new level and is so refreshing when eaten alongside the other ingredients. Peel and grate your ginger and you should end up with a nice heaped teaspoon. Quick tip, use a teaspoon to peel your ginger and you'll find this so much easier. Component number 3, sesame seeds. We want to lightly toast these so they become fragrant. Grab yourself a pan, place a few tablespoons of seeds into it and toast over a medium heat. As these are so small, when we warm them, they release oils and tend to clump together. Because of this, you want to make sure you continuously stir them. This should only take about 10 minutes, and remember to keep an eye on them as they burn so easily. The final component to prep is the nuts. Here I'm using macadamia nuts. In a pestle and mortar, go ahead and crush a tablespoon of macadamia nuts until they get a lot finer and there are no large chunks showing. This goes so well in the dish and adds a wonderful texture to it. Not only the crunch of the slightly larger chunks, but the more ground down dust-like nuts mixed with the other ingredients and help thicken the marinade slightly. This way, each cube of tuna you get will be covered in this delicious fragrant marinade. So now it's time to assemble. In a clean bowl, add your 2 centimeter cubes of freshly sliced tuna, roughly 180 grams, a small handful of the sweet onions that you didn't cry over, roughly 20 grams, grab yourself some light soy sauce, shout out to Kikkoman, and pour in 1 tablespoon of this. We then want to grab some sesame oil and use 1 tablespoon of this too. Throw in your freshly grated ginger, 1 to 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame seeds that you didn't burn, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of the ground macadamia nuts. For an added little kick, I'm going to add in some GOCHUGARU flakes. This is simply Korean chili flakes. Give everything a good mix until all of the tuna has been covered in some of the marinade. If at this point you want it saltier, simply add in some more of the soy sauce. Cover and place in the fridge for at least an hour, ideally 2 hours. When you're ready to serve, bring this out at the last minute. The amazing thing about this dish is the contrasting cold meat served on top of the bed of warm rice. Whilst your tuna is marinating, we're going to go ahead and prepare the rice and toppings. Grab yourself a rice cooker, anyone will do. This is just a cheap one off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. If you don't own a rice cooker, I'll write a method in the description for cooking the rice on the hob in a pan. If anything, this will give you identical results to using a rice cooker. For this, I'm going to use some sushi rice, Japanese short grain rice. Open this up, but don't do what I did. If anything, rice is the most important part of this dish. Like sushi in Japan or poke in Hawaii, the raw fish is simple and easy to prepare. What separates an average piece of sushi or poke from an incredible one will more often than not come down to the rice. Add 2 cups of rice to your pot and then it's time to rinse. The reason we want to rinse the rice is to remove any loose starch sitting on the surface of the grains. This will stop it from going mushy and overly sticky. If you don't believe me, try without washing and you'll definitely notice the difference. To wash the rice, fill it up with water and use your hand as a paddle like this to gently stir the rice in a circular motion. After about 20 seconds, the first wash of your rice is done. As you can see, the water is a very milky white colour. This is the excess starch we don't want. Strain off this milky water and repeat the rinsing process up to 4 times. You will know when the rinsing is done as the water will end up a lot clearer after rinsing like this. At tops, this should take you 5 minutes, but it is an essential 5 minutes for the process. Next, we want to soak the rice. Again, this is an essential part of the cooking process. Soaking allows the rice to absorb some of the water, helping with a more even cooking the grains. Have you ever ended up with rice that is soft and soggy on the outside, but still slightly hard on the inside? Yes, this is most likely because you didn't soak it. In the pot, we're going to add 2 cups of our rinsed rice, strained, and 2 cups of cold water. For added flavour, I love to add some kombu, a popular ingredient in East Asia. This is just dry kelp and it adds a lovely subtle flavour to the rice. Cut off 2 4x4cm squares of kombu and place into the pot. Cover and then leave to soak for at least 20 minutes. Whilst the rice is soaking, I'm going to prep 2 of the toppings for this. Go ahead and grab yourself a lovely bunch of fresh carrots. Top and tail the carrots, then give them a quick peel, but remember to not throw away any of those amazing skins or carrot tops. The green stalks can be used as garnish, however if not, both the stalks and skins can be used in adding amazing flavour to broths. To julienne the carrots, we want to cut them into half until they're roughly a length of 7cm. Cut off one side of the carrot and place the flat side onto the cutting surface to stabilise. Proceed to cut the carrot in strips like this. Then go ahead and stack your slices into a neat little pile like this, then proceed to cut the stack of carrots into nice thin slices. And there we go, you have successfully learned how to julienne a carrot. For the second topping, I've chosen to use avocado. If the avocado is ripe, it should be slightly soft to the touch, and the knobbly bit at the top should pop off with ease. As you can see here, I've got a pretty good one. I've got a little bit of browning at the top, but the rest is perfect. As we are using this avocado as a topping, we want it to be presented as nicely as possible, therefore we won't be using a spoon to scoop out the flesh. Instead, we're going to use our hands to peel off the skin to preserve the flesh. After all, if your food looks good, it always tastes 100 times better. You get the gist. Once you have a nice half of avocado, we want to slice this into fans. Cutting from top to bottom, we want to use the tip of the knife, not the whole blade. This way, the avocado slices have less surface area to stick to the knife and pull away from the avocado. Trust me, it will make it 10 times easier. This is also a fail-proof way to cut avocado for the top of sushi rolls. Now we've cut the avocado, we want to flatten it with the back of the knife. Gently push down and there you'll have a neat presentation. As I'm preparing the avocado a few hours ahead of making this dish, we want to make sure it doesn't go brown. If left untreated, the avocado will go brown very quickly as it oxidizes in the air. To stop this, I like to cover my avocado in lime juice. Grab yourself a lime and simply roll it in the palm of your hand to release the juices. The antioxidants in the juice will prevent the avocado from browning. Cut it in half and squeeze it over the top of the avocado. Cover and set aside until ready to use. For the final garnish, I've decided to go ahead and use some nori. Yes, this isn't traditional, but I love the added salty sea flavour, as well as the look of the thin strips sprinkled on top. Looks beautiful, gonna taste good. Fun fact, the little pack of balls inside your packets is actually there to remove any moisture from the air and to keep your seaweed dry and fresh. Just don't eat it. Cut a nori sheet in half and then half again. Proceed to cut very thin strips across the piece of seaweed until you get wispy strings of nori like this. By the time you've prepped your toppings, the rice should now be ready to cook. Grab your rice cooker and place the pot of soaked rice on top. Make sure to turn it on, unlike me at first, then cook for roughly 10 minutes or until done. Once cooked, scoop the rice out onto a wide tray to get ready for seasoning. Sometimes when cooking in a rice cooker, bits of rice can stick to the bottom. This is very normal, but remember, do not scrape and catch any of the crispy bits like I did. If you do, simply pick them out and your rice will be perfect and good to go. For the seasoning, I'm using a simple mix of 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and a pinch of salt. Grab a wooden spatula and turn to 45 degrees. Proceed to slowly drizzle the seasoning onto the spatula whilst making a flicking motion with your hand. This way, the seasoning will be evenly spread over the rice. Gently fold on top of each other a few times and then you should end up with a beautifully seasoned, well-cooked batch of rice. So, it's now come to assembly time. I'm using a shallow bowl for this. Scoop some rice into the bottom of your bowl and top with a nice pile of your marinated tuna. As I said earlier, the cold tuna on a bed of warm rice is absolute heaven. Add some of your julienne carrots to one side and then your green, not brown, avocado to the other side. Place some of your wispy nori strips on top of your tuna. For an added touch, I'm going to use some Japanese spice mix, togarashi. Sprinkle a bit over your tuna and some onto your avocado. And hey, there you have it, a delicious homemade poke bowl, fresh, tasty and very satisfying to eat. Wow, that is unbelievably delicious. Got the freshness of the ginger with the tuna, got the soy sauce, sesame oil, and you've got the nice crunch from the nuts and the sesame seeds, and you've got the avocado with the togarashi. Honestly, this is so tasty. If you guys want to make this, the recipe will be in the description box. Let me know how it goes, send me some photos on Instagram. I'm in the process of moving kitchens, so I will be in a new kitchen very soon, and yeah, I just can't wait to explore all the culinary creations from around the world and share this journey with you guys. Till next time.